Is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave, on the Township website, and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Could all please rise for Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad? Here. Councilmember Perry?
Here.
Councilmember Roy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Here.
Mayor Simonson?
Here. All right, I guess we'll move right down to the consent agenda. First, we have council comments. Councilman, anybody, anything on the consent agenda?
No comments.
All right, seeing none, we move to the public portion. If you have any comments on the consent agenda only, please step up to the mic. Give us your name and address, please. Anyone? Seeing none? All right.
Approval of resolutions number 2017-125 through 2017-131. And this is the first reading of ordinance number 2017-06, an ordinance governing the registration of vacant properties in the Township of Lower. Again, this is the first reading of this ordinance. The second reading and public hearing is scheduled for May 1st.
All right, get a motion to approve.
Make a motion. I'll second the motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. All right, at this time, we have nothing on our regular agenda this evening, so we'll move down to council comments.
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Go right ahead.
Prepared statement. A few statements were brought up at the last meeting that I would like to address. First, according to one person, the beach access paths in the villas are causing more issues with sand in the street. So last Tuesday, the day after the meeting, I drove along the bay and checked every beach access path entryway, the ones that the township recently put in and all others. None appear to have been swept up since the last meeting the night before, and they all look natural. I did not see one new beach access path that had an issue with sand blowing down the street onto the down the path onto the street. As I followed up again on this past Monday, after the weekend, to see if there were any issues. There were none. For those that are unfamiliar with the new beach access paths in the villas, they can be found at the beach street ends of Ocean, Bay, Hudson, Pacific, Delaware Parkway, Atlantic, Bates, New York, Ridgewood, Pine Tree, Greenwood, Woodland, Oak, Walnut, Spruce, Wildwood, and Village. The steps on New Jersey's access point have been repositioned, and there are a few steps at Delaware Parkway due to a bulkhead. Now, sand blowing down the streets from the dunes in certain spots? Of course, it's near a beach. And that has been happening for, well, since there were dunes and wind. What I did notice, though, is that sand on the street is predominant in areas where the dunes are higher than the street. So the sand is actually being blown off the dunes. Evidence of this is when I compared the beach access paths to streets that do not have our new paths. We cannot do anything about the wind blowing the sand off the dunes. It's natural and occurs everywhere there are dunes and wind. Have the new paths reduced the sand blowing up onto the streets from the paths themselves compared to the old paths? Yes, in my opinion, and what I have witnessed so far after the past storms. I am asking people to go look at the paths themselves, walk along them, and hopefully they will appreciate them and how they were made. Public Works not only did a great job, but they won an award from the GIF for that work. And to be honest, that was the only negative comment that I had received among the countless compliments and thank yous. The second issue I would like to address is the pedestrian safety improvement project in North Cape May, and rumors and misleading information that is still being put out there by some people and organizations. The facts have been presented, and the actual project has been available for the public to review in the clerk's office since around May of 2013. Do you know how many people have reviewed the plan in the clerk's office? None. That means all the people and organizations that have been starting the rumors or providing misleading information have not even bothered to look at or study the project they are opposing. Now, though, those same people and organizations may be costing the taxpayers. What was presented at the last meeting contained all the facts and what the project would include. No piers, no amusement rides, no parking lots or added parking, no new lighting, no commercial buildings, no lifeguard stands or stations. The dunes are being strengthened and or rebuilt in certain places. This will allow the road to be repaired. On the southern end, where we have to shift parts of the dunes from the east side to the west side, we possibly would have to be looking at shifting those same dunes to keep them off the street they are already encroaching. A lot of the crosswalks, signage, and repairs people want are being done on this project. This is to make the area safer for the residents and visitors. This project already is approved by CAFR, and we have the CAFR permit. And not only is it approved by the New Jersey DEP, they made suggestions on how to do part of it. DEP made sure the project was environmentally safe and friendly. We are replanting native dune vegetation to restore any dunes disturbed, to hopefully strengthen and further grow our dunes. As I said at the last meeting, the potential FEMA lawsuit the township is exploring has nothing to do with the pedestrian safety improvement project. That possible lawsuit concerns the area north of Coxhall Creek. The project is south of Coxhall Creek. Two separate issues. Well, as we are shifting the dunes to keep them at their current height and size and rebuilding and strengthening the dunes in other areas, we are in a sense trying to prevent a section of the township that contains the project from having the flood maps being rezoned like north of Coxhall Creek. Is there any objections to that? This is a simple project to add an ADA-compliant sidewalk in a section of the township that during times of the year sees a large amount of pedestrians, cyclists, and motor vehicles attempting to share the same small road. We are trying to mitigate this problem and reduce the chance or prevent accidents and or injuries from occurring. We are also fixing the road, adding or repairing the storm water systems, which also help protect the dunes from erosion and water damage, which will help all year long. We are trying to rebuild and strengthen the dunes. All this was to be done in a way as to not upset the natural beauty or affect the views of the bay, beaches, or sunsets as much as possible. And certain people are against it. I cannot figure why. Two police chiefs have said publicly that this area is a safety hazard. So again, this project is a way to reduce the township's liability if something does happen. And that should make all taxpayers happy, including those that are just worried about their beach. Of course, it's their beach until something happens. Then it's the township's problem, not theirs. Of course, by the township's problem, I mean all the taxpayers will be responsible for it, even those that don't live near their beach. And again, this project is not on the beach or dunes. It's on the existing road and alongside it in the right-of-way. Why bring this up? Because certain people and organizations are still starting new or maintaining the old rumors, trying to mislead others, even though the facts are available for all, and we had a public presentation of those facts. We are seeking grants to help reduce the township's actual cost for the project. Remember, the township's cost is actually the amount of taxpayer money we will be spending on this project. We will be attempting to obtain these grants with facts, blueprints, expert testimony, DEP approvals, proven science, and pictures. The people opposed to the project will be using rumors, falsehoods, convoluted reasoning, and fear as they have no actual facts or science to back them up. Problem is, they are now trying to prevent the township from reducing the cost to all the township's taxpayers for improvements to a road and the roadside next to it that is in their specific area. Kind of a fair, isn't it? Especially as they are not responsible for it, the township is. This has to stop for everyone's sake. Remember, these are the same people and organizations that were against the beach access pass, starting rumors and implying false reasoning, yet were proven wrong after the access pass were put in and people saw what was done. This project is very similar. We are trying to improve our infrastructure and allow all residents and visitors to safely enjoy all areas of Lower Township and protect our natural resources for years to come. What a simple deal for a simple project. I did recently learn that there is some confusion about the township's public access plan and what we are doing on this project. Please understand, most of the points in that public access plan are not about this project. They exist elsewhere in the township. It's the public access plan for the entire township. As we said, there's no commercial buildings, there is no piers being added, none of that is going to be put in there. The only thing we are doing is putting in an ADA sidewalk and strengthening our storm protection infrastructure. Other than that, thank you for your time, have a good Easter, and Dave?
Mr. Ridgway?
Eileen, could you bring up a slide there? Council, what I'd like to show you tonight, along with the media and the public that are here, since we received so many emails concerning us having to do something that we didn't do. If you look at number 2, which is up there on the slide, it says, this is required for the CAFR permit. The complaint was that people didn't receive written notice. A copy of the first 2 pages of the NJDEP CAFR permit checklist. The note at the top of page 2 clearly states that individual notice to owners of real property, including easements located within 200 feet of this property boundary of the site, is not required at the time the application is submitted to the DEP. And if you would go to the next one, please, you'll see a response from the DEP concerning our application. And keep in mind, we were awarded the permit. Dear Ms. Picard, our clerk, this letter is to provide you with legal notification that an application will be admitted in the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Land Use Regulation Act. They do welcome comments to such. And if you would click the next slide, showing that the advertisement that we had to notify the public, it was done. It was published in the Star and Wave. I have a copy of the ad and the receipt that we paid for such up on the screen. So with regards to us not following the proper protocol to get the permit, which we have received and expires in January of 2019, you could turn that off now. I also wanted to tell council tonight that our police department started a community outreach program about 4 or 5 days ago, in which they're conducting surveys while they're on the street during shifts over in the next 4 weeks. Those surveys are being turned into me with people's concerns. They've also set up a couple cop stops along the way, and when I get back these, I'll share them with you at the next council meeting. The only other thing I wanted to tell you tonight was that we're very active again in the spring. There's 310 children involved in spring soccer. 135 are involved in spring lacrosse, and over 300 children participated in last Saturday's Easter egg event at Douglas Park. It was very successful and well done by the rec department. That's all I have for tonight. Mr. Perry?
Okay, I just have a few brief comments. Number one, I'd like to thank the people that have been contacting me via going to the Acme or stores around town, and also calling to thanking me. It's not thanking me, it's thanking council for having the courage to move forward to make this safety improvement on Beach Drive happen. We have to do something. God forbid somebody gets hurt up there, injured. We have to do something. And I always believe that if you're going to err, always err on the side of safety, and public safety comes first. And that's the avenue we're going to take with that, at least my opinion. The other comment that I have to say is, if you didn't attend last month's meeting, or didn't see it on, our last meeting, if you didn't see it on TV or weren't here, the engineer's report stated that The Roseanne Avenue project, we're waiting for a DEP permit, and then we're ready to go. There's movement and progress being done as we speak on that. Also, an issue came up. I received an email regarding the speed limit that's on Bay Shore Road, currently on Bay Shore Road, and it's my understanding at this particular time the county isn't moving forward with having that reduced. However, I did reach out to Mr. Ridgway. We are actively pursuing to have that looked at strongly again. Also, the police department will be taking some actions in that area to try to slow people down till we do get it changed. I can't understand that you have a 35 mile an hour speed limit in one direction, and in the other direction it's 50. I don't get that yet. But it's got to get reduced there, and we're still working on it. And we'll continue until hopefully we get some results. Other than that, everybody have a nice holiday. Not yet, almost.
Few minutes.
I have no comments at this time.
Okay, I have a few, Mayor. I mentioned last month at the council meeting, there are a couple initiatives I'm working on. The Lower Township Healthy Youth Coalition. That's where the township was given a grant back in September 2015 to pretty much to change the behavior of the youth in the township. And working with the mayor and the rest of the council, we're looking to hold a 2 to 3 day camp in July, probably about the third week of July, maybe 10, 15 kids. Police, fire, military, some staff from Keep Assist will be there helping us out. There will be a formal briefing here to the council and public on June 5th, which is the first council meeting in June. Also, on a different subject, but it kind of runs hand in hand, we're looking to establish a trust fund for the youth of Lower Township. And this trust fund will be for kids that are coming from, I guess we'll call it less fortunate families, or families that are experiencing some type of financial hardship. I met with the Optimist Club last night, and we're going to try to work with them as a partnership with this program to raise money to help kids get involved with any activity in Lower Township, to keep them off the street. And last, but just as important, there is Congressman Lobiando and the VA are having a claims clinic for all the veterans. The clinic is hosted by the ACC College on April 29th from 1 to 4 p.m. That's all I have.
Thank you, Frank. Also, along with the Lower Township Healthy Youth Coalition, I attended the meeting today. We're now having a meeting in the schools, which I think will help just to have a presence there, because that's who we're trying to help, is the youth of Lower Township. It was great to see Officer Coombs is now the community outreach officer, which he'll do a great job, and he's already involved in planning events and just correlating a great relationship with our police department and everyone, but especially the youth. He already does the LEAD program, which took over for DARE, and some other things. So that was one of the things that we wanted to bring together, was get everybody on the same page to help our youth. We know that, there are drug issues everywhere, as well as in our township. One way to combat them and kind of get out in front of it is to get youth involved in activities, whether it's sports, the arts, gardening, all kinds of activities. And I know we're working on new programs, expanding our recreation and it's the things that it provides for our youth. So that's great, and I know Frank's been hard at work at that as well. So we appreciate it. There's a couple announcements. The Great Cape May Foot Race, which is a long-standing tradition in Cape May, is being revamped, and it will also, part of it will run through Lower Township this year. It's being run by Cape May Running Company, which are two graduates from Lower Cape May Regional, Mike Mader and Harry Back. Mike is a resident of our township, and they took it over this year. It looks to be new and improved, and they're also, basically another shared service between Cape May and Cape May City and Lower Township. And on that, I wanted to mention one of the things in our consent agenda. I wanted to thank Mayor Lear from Cape May City and the Cape May City Council, is that they have a brand new park down there. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's beautiful. And a brand new soccer field there. We are overloaded with soccer, and we have a great shared agreement with, shared service agreement with them. Their kids are obviously allowed to participate in our rec activities, and we are now allowed to use their brand-new fields, which is a great partnership, and we appreciate that. What else do I have? The 24th of May will be a rededication of the Union Bethel Cemetery over on Tabernacle Road. It will be from 4 to 5 p.m. You'll hear more about that in the future. That's on May 24th. June 3rd and 4th is a huge weekend here in Lower Township. It's one of our prized, basically one of our prized activities is the Escape the Cape Triathlon run by Steve Delmonte and Delmo Sports. That'll be on really the whole weekend, but it kicks off on Sunday, June 4th. The day before also, the whole weekend, where we have Relay for Life will be hosted over on the grounds of the Lower Cape May Regional School District. It's a huge event raising money for cancer. That's Saturday and Sunday. It's an overnight event. If anyone's ever been there, I know Councilman Conrad's been involved from the start, and it's a great event to support the American Cancer Society and to raise money for cancer. I'm not sure about our Harbor Fest, what's going on with that, but we'll have more information on that in the future. And our next meeting will be May 1st. It comes early because obviously it's the first day of May is a Monday, so that'll be our next meeting. I just want to wish everyone a happy Easter and enjoy it. For those of you that get some time off from work, enjoy that as well. Enjoy the weather.
Real quick, Eric.
Yeah.
Are we going to get someone from Del Monte for sports to come in to one of the May meetings to kind of give people an update so everybody knows what roads are going to be closed? There will be roads closed, bridges closed, and roughly the times. Somebody always does a great job at that. That way, I know they're notifying all the neighbors and everything, but we have to get as much word out as possible because there's going to be someone that goes, well, I didn't know.
Yeah, we'll get on a work session.
Yeah, we usually just have them come in and do it.
Relay for Life would be good to get in on one of the
I
work
offered that to
sessions.
them. I haven't heard back from them.
All right, well, we have time to work on that.
Meeting in May.
What's that?
First meeting in May. We'll reach out to Steve. Is that what you want?
Yeah, we can. All right, we good? All right, we now open it up to the public for public comment. Please state your name and address. And first one up looks to be Mr. Ed Sharette. No need, I'll introduce you. How's that?
Thank you. Mr. Perry, you stole some of my thunder. Obviously, that's what I'm here for. Bay Shore Road between Breakwater and Town Bank Road. I live on Roseanne. I have about 15 family members that constantly come in and out of there, and it's a nightmare. In fact, very honestly, my daughter-in-law was down from Pennsylvania today. I told her I was coming here for that, and she said, thank God. So, I mean, it's obvious to people that use that area a lot that it is a problem. I'm glad you noticed that it's one of the few places on Bay Shore Road. The only other place is just on the other side of Breakwater where it's 50 mile an hour. It's kind of insane, like you say, that it's 35, but it doesn't become 35 till it becomes past
Just past Roseanne Avenue, right?
yeah, well, it's just a little past, maybe 60, 70 feet past Roseanne Avenue, it becomes 35. I've ridden around the township quite a bit, and I've looked at a number of other roads just to get a comparison, because I know this isn't really something you can fix, but the reason I'm here is to ask for your very vocal and documented support on this, and if need be, I'll be happy to go to a freeholder meeting. I've actually drawn a couple maps if I can send them up to you. My artwork is outstanding. So, I mean, you'll appreciate it. If I could give you these,
Absolutely.
I'll just. Mr. Ridgway, could you help me?
We could possibly discuss this and have a resolution at a later meeting, if that would help.
Support it. And you mentioned Breakwater, and I did Breakwater Road, also some concerned citizens I spoke with, and that's also being addressed, because I know exactly what you're talking about, cycling out there, especially that bend, the bend there. But again, the county, with all their construction there at the airport, they are going to be reconfiguring that road, so that's what the plan is, to do that when they do that. I don't think it's going to happen before that, unfortunately.
Well, honestly, I'm just
won't record you.
Actually, right now I'm addressing from Breakwater Road to Town Bank. Actually, we probably could go all the way to Ferry Road, but my issue is right there. There's at least 14 businesses there, some of them very high volume. In the summertime, it's a nightmare for a number of reasons, but because it is 50 mile an hour going north. If you try to make a left-hand turn coming out of Roseanne, if you look, fire lane's right there. If there's a car trying to come out of fire lane and make a left, and you're trying to make a left out of Roseanne and it's 50 mile an hour, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I swear, I'm not lying to you, when you pull out there, I think people challenge you. They get mad that you're actually pulling on the road. But if you look on the map, again, you appreciate this artwork, I'm sure. If you look on the map, you guys probably know this, but at the bend, it's 50 mile an hour. Right around the fruit stand there, it goes down to 40, and then it doesn't go down to 35 if you look till it passes Roseanne. One of the problems, not just with the speed limit, but when you come out of Roseanne, and I addressed this to Mr. Ridgway before, and I think he had the tree trimmed, but there's a fence, a tree, which is now grown back to where you literally have to get out off of Roseanne on the Bay Shore to be able to see. There's a fence, a tree, a telephone pole, and a mailbox obstructing your view. So it really, besides the speed limit, it's tough to get out of there. Now, oftentimes I go down to Old Mill, but the problem with that is not too bad in the wintertime, but when you get down there in the summertime, it's a nightmare with Wawa and now Dunkin' Donuts, and I mean, it's just crazy to get out of there. And I appreciate you guys address the safety issue on Beach Avenue, but this is a safety issue. And I know, I understand that you can't yourself change that. But I certainly think the fact that it's in the township and a lot of pressure on the freeholders. And I don't understand. I know the county engineer has his reasons, but if you go up in that end of the Villas, once you go into the Villas, it's 35. Once you get past Foley Mill Road up about Bates Avenue, it goes down to 30. So, and I'm not complaining about that, but why can't it be like that down here?
Well, you're right, in front of, right by St. Raymond's in the north end, there's a lot right there to slow
Right.
people down, and I think there's a lot less traffic there than where you're talking about. So we will definitely take it upon ourselves to put some pressure.
There's
where-
other
where
places
needed.
also. I mean, if you go Tabernacle Road, I don't know whether that's a county road or not.
Yes.
It is. Well, there's 35, and it's 35 where that empty field is and about 4 houses. I mean, so what I'm trying to point out is there's logic for it to be at least 35, in that portion of Bay Shore. And I would think the county, with a little pressure from the township, and again, I'm more than happy to go to a freeholder meeting and address the
Mayor,
issue.
Ed, a couple things. First off, I don't think anyone disagrees with what you're saying. I got into this pretty heavy duty yesterday, had a meeting with Lieutenant Green to just go back to where we were, and it didn't help our case when we did the speed enforcement evaluation over 3 periods in 15, because it wasn't out of line to lower the speed. But that's just one thing that we did, and I don't think it's the same area now. So your comment about the freeholders, I do believe is important. I will talk in closed session tonight a little bit about this to see if there's a way that we can put some pressure on in the form of a resolution. But one thing I think that can enhance our position is it's not just a busy area, it's now a much busier area, because with the coming of Dunkin' Donuts, that's more traffic. So it's probably the busiest area 7 days a week in the whole township. So I get it, but I want you to know that there's similar complaints, probably more even, for Foley Mill Road. Same thing, they want the limits to come down. I've had this discussion with Mr. Foster, but I think as a collective group, with our support and support of people coming out of there, like I know you noticed on Heidi, on your map here, no left turn. It is difficult getting out of Roseanne, and I know the hedge you're talking about, it probably does have to be cut back again. We took it
Well,
back.
you also have a 6-foot fence there, You know, I mean, I'm not trying to beat anybody up, but that's another obstruction to get out of there. And honestly, Mr. Ridgway, I don't see where one thing relates to the other, quite honestly. I mean, you can address both issues.
Let me add this. You will see on your way home tomorrow, because it's already been scheduled, you'll see the message boards going there. I'm going to see where you have it on the map there. When you come out of Roseanne to the left, you'll see a message board, which is huge, stuck in the trees, which is another thing we could do. We scheduled it where people see the speed limit. I'm not saying that works, but I think it wakes some people up that, whoa, I'm going that fast.
I
It
agree.
can't hurt. And that's being put on the wood side so it doesn't affect the residents. That was scheduled yesterday. And again, that's not going to solve the problem, but it's another enhancement.
Was it the Township Police Department that did the speed study?
Yes.
Here's my problem with that, honestly, and I'm not trying to beat them up either, but it's a 50-mile-an-hour approach coming out of there when you're leaving, and it's 40 coming around the bend. Let me double-check myself. Yeah, it's 40 coming around the bend. So realistically, and we all know this, if it's 50, people are going 55. They might be going 58. If they're doing 40, they're doing 45. They're doing 48. And the police, I don't want them to get crazy. They're not, that's kind of accepted practice that people don't do the exact speed limit. And I'm sure if you ticket somebody for doing 44, there's going to be an argument in a court. But the fact is, they're not doing 40 and they're not doing 50. There's obstructed view. There's a bend. There's a street where people are not supposed to make a left turn, and people do. Okay, so there's a lot of issues to address there, and I appreciate your support. I'm just asking that it gets very strong and documented, and I'm willing to go up there. I'd like maybe even a council member or two to go up there, or however you guys communicate with the freeholders. But it's an issue. I know there's been 3 accidents there. One required quite a bit of utility work. One involved a young child. My granddaughter this past winter was riding down there. A big, large delivery truck's coming down here like 50 mile an hour. I don't know whether the guy was texting or reading his order. She literally had to ride up on the sidewalk to get away from him. Literally. So, it's an address. I mean, something needs to be addressed. And I know we get into government, we get into all this red tape, and the county engineer says we can't do it because I don't understand that. If it's unsafe, let's take care of it. My God, going from 40 or even 50 down to 35 it's not going to kill anybody. It may kill somebody if we don't do it. So, enough said. 2 things. One is, I only come here to complain, so I'm not here a lot. You guys are doing pretty well. And I appreciate the project on the beachfront. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I am here to reiterate what Mr. Schroeder said.
What is
Sally
your
Yerk,
name, ma'am?
Sally Yerk, Roseanne Avenue. And I talked with Mr. Ridgway's office, and Mr. Perry, you've been very helpful. But I was here 10 years ago and 5 years ago about this very issue. So I can't sit by here calmly and think, it's going to be solved now. It needs to be solved. I heard the word safety, improvement. That's really important. That stretch of road, it was my daughter and my granddaughter that was hit there just a couple weeks ago. And they were just sitting at the stop sign on Roseanne Avenue, just sitting there waiting to pull out. They didn't move because the car coming down at 50 miles an hour, when the car turned in to Roseanne, they hit them. And the first words out of that young girl's mouth was, I was going the speed limit, I was going 50 miles an hour. It's not the problem, 50 miles an hour. It shouldn't be that speed limit. $10,000 worth of damage to the car with a child that was just sitting there at the stop sign because the force of 50 miles an hour, that car spun out of control. And now our 5-year-old granddaughter, every time she gets in the car, it's the boogeyman to her, where, Grammy, please, don't let a car hit us at the stop sign. I don't want to see that for other children. So I'm asking, I'm begging, I'll go with Mr. Sharetta. I already have a letter to Mr. Foster. But he said, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Peary, he said that the data is not enough data to warrant a speed limit reduction.
From what I understand, it's correct. That the speed limit study that was done, there was not enough data there to warrant the
So,
reduction.
walk our walk. 3 and 4 and 5 times a day that we pull out of there, and I know everybody in this room goes down that road. And they're all shaking their head, yes. I'll pay for a sign. We don't need a study. It's a speed limit reduction, not a light, not an overpass, a speed limit reduction.
I will personally reach out to Mr. Maury, Freeholder Maury, who is, I believe, oversees that department, and see if I can meet with him, or a few of us can meet with him and go over this and see if we can come up with something to get that speed limit reduced. And you
I
also know
appreciate that very much.
I think that's the avenue to go. They've been extremely cooperative. I've asked them about other safety issues on Bayshore Road between Lincoln Boulevard and Town Bank. They're going to totally redo and redesign from Lincoln Boulevard, Ferry Road, to Old Mill Drive
But you did say in 2018.
in 2018. Correct. But we'll see what we can do to get the speed limit reduced as soon as we can. That's another thing that we have to bring to their attention. I'm
And
sure
I
they'll
do
be
notice
cooperative.
the police officers along Bayshore Road, and I appreciate that. But it's not the problem. They're going the speed limit. The cars really are going the speed limit. 50 miles an hour is just too
It's
much.
too fast. Maybe 15 or 20 years ago, it'd have been no big deal, but
Actually-
I've lived there my whole life.
When the Super Wawa was built, it should
I
have
know.
been changed then, and no one changed it. And it should have been condition of it.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and gentlemen, thank you for
We'll
listening.
make sure it's taken care of, thank you. Absolutely. Anyone else?
Greta, do you want your maps back?
You don't need that.
I just want.
Will you sign it? Yeah, this has to go.
Hi, I'm Margaret
this thing.
Vitelli. I live at 601 Caspian Avenue, and I just wanted to show my support for the sidewalks in North Cape May. It is a very long time coming, and I know all of my neighbors and all of the people that I've talked to are so ecstatic that it's actually going forward, and it's actually going to happen for the safety of our children, for residents, for visitors, for that matter. So I'm really, really proud of the whole project. That's
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
One gentleman.
Someone in the back? Come on up. In the back? Yes. The camera's in the way, so I saw a hand go up. Whoever had their hand up.
He's in the middle.
He's making his way.
Gotcha.
Apologize for the extra time to get here. My name is
Oh,
Bill
geez.
Tyrrell. My wife and I reside at 105 Beach Drive with her mother. Two items. One, I was intrigued by the line of sight discussions tonight. So many of our roads here have good line of sight and are protected by yellow curb. It's a shame that the line of sight protections don't apparently extend where they should. This gentleman talked and the lady talked about children being hit or endangered one way or another. Where I'm from, which makes no difference, we really didn't like when folks allowed things to grow into line of sight or built into line of sight and reduced it. We told them to take it down, cut it down, or the town came in and did it. Because it's a safety issue, simply put. And most of the, I think state law may help you there. Sure, the New Jersey roads laws have something about line of sight and how close you can be and things like that. So I really encourage you to move that to the forefront, particularly on the instance that's been discussed here. Secondly, we were unable to be here for the hearing on Beach Drive and expanding the road by a foot. I'm a little puzzled though. Where I'm from, the roadway extends center line to outside the sidewalk on both cases. I guess that's not the case in New Jersey. But I do commend you. It expands from 31 to 32 feet, adds a 6-foot sidewalk on the beach side. And apparently, if I read it properly, we'll do repair work along the eastern side of Beach Drive to upgrade that sidewalk, which is very, very much needed. I commend you for taking these steps to get the engineering done on that. I encourage you to stay the course. That can be a very dangerous area out there. Bicycles, walkers, motorcycles, cars, trucks, folks in baby carriages. I mean, it can be very busy and very hectic. So I encourage that. I would also add in passing, and my wife brought some pictures, you may want to do a little collective thought about allowing dogs down on the beach. I realize that folks bring their dogs, but a dog's going to go to the bathroom where it's going to go to the bathroom. And quite often, my wife has pictures of this, even though it's not during the forbidden hours, folks will take their dogs down there and not bother to clean up, and it's left for the next day. Not a very tempting thing to find when you go down to the beach is dog poo, so to speak. So I encourage you to take a look at that. If you're not going to enforce it vigorously, I recommend that you either do away with it or change it to just forbid it entirely. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing-
Resolution number 2017-132, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss negotiations, contract negotiations update, and attorney-client privileged information.
Motion to move to closed session?
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes.